Looking dapper.
Oh, Lantry and Ebb and Barrett. Oh, wow. Everyone's over here. Okay. There is stuff for me to collect. I must collect it. It is required. What be this? Scrolls. I shall take all of those. And over here, probably the same thing. Spire worker. How do you people get up here? The winds make it a bit chilly up here, but the view makes up for it. Spire worker, spire worker. I mean, I could take Barrack down with me, I guess. A small settlement resides on the bank of the large river. And Sage Igaris. Greetings, Fate Binder. The sage bows low before you, the quills in his hood brushing the ground. Who are you, and how did you get onto my spire? I don't believe we've met. Indeed, and I'm afraid I have you at a disadvantage, he nods. Sage Garrus, formerly of the Vellum Citadel, scribe and researcher extraordinaire. Not to bore you with the honorifics. When I heard about the library you were building, I just had to come. I watched the workers as they hauled the stone and scrolls up here. There was an awful lot, and they were very tired, so I did what little I could to assist. Then on the last day, as everyone was leaving, I just stayed behind. Why are you here? I take it you'll need someone to organize this collection of scrolls, someone to catalog new text as you discover them, and someone to organize the research efforts. As your scribe, I can do all three. In fact, I'm excited to get started. I've already started looking through your collection, and he cuts himself off and sighs. To be honest, I need the work. The Vellum Citadel isn't exactly up to its old standards, and I'm afraid there aren't many safe places where a sage can find employment during the war. What can you research for me? Oh, any number of topics. Magic, alchemy, the history of the world. You have an impressive collection. Not as large as the Vellum Citadel, perhaps, but no sense in crying over burnt parchment. I've started compiling a list of possible research topics. Allow me to show you. Okay. Silent Archive Research Artifact. Silent Archive Research Items. So because I have the Silent Archive, I'm going to do all of these things. Potion recipes, shield plans, sigil scrolls. I'd need a magic sigil. Recruits need a library. 1. Crafting requirements not meant. Time long. Conduct research to learn new magical accents, expressions, and calls. Okay, because I've got this, it'd be super fast. Hi, Yvonne. Recruits need a library. 2. Recruits need a library. 4. Okay. Well, I don't have any recruits, so... Very well. That's something I'm going to have to take care of. I've got a missive. On the subject of the spires. My dear Aavak. The court is abuzz with the news of the civil war. Representatives from the chorus and disfavoured are having little shouting matches in front of Tunon. The petitioners to the court seem swept up in talks of who will crush whom and if and when Tunon will bring down the gavel and stop the fighting. What has me more intrigued is the other story out of Endrin's Well. Tunon sends you on what I thought was going to be a one-way trip to the well, and not only do you live, you somehow claimed the mountain spire, and you broke Kara's edict too. Such things make a little civil war seem so trivial in comparison, at least to those who can separate the message from the noise. Tell me, what was it like to break the edict? And how is it that you took control of the spire? I'll respond with questions of my own. Dear Regalius, did you know that the wording of the edict would entail? Did you advocate that I be sent on what was likely to be a one-way journey? Your question seems to imply that my actions at Endrin Well were orchestrated when they were, in fact, the product of me responding to a chaotic situation. Nothing more. Dealing with 2 petulant, disagreeing Archons occupied what precious time I might have spent undermining Kairos. Ooh. How about you tell me what you know first? You were the one who taught me the value of never being tricked into self-incrimination. And how could I possibly argue with that sort of wisdom? Yeah, actually that's pretty good. Send it. I like that. Here we go. Skilled teacher. Trainer who teaches subterfuge, etc. So I need more recruits here. Teaches law, control fire, control frost, and control lightning. Merchant with collection of rare magical, a scribe and lawseeker who regularly provides scrolls to further research. That sounds good. Skill trainer who teaches control stone. Master trainer who teaches control stone, control force, use of the mage staff. Not something I care about. Subterfuge, that is something I care about. Conquest, a master trainer who teaches control gravelight and control illusion. Yeah, we're going to grab you. Recruit, hired. Maintenance cost 2, due in 5 days. You could grab a second, I guess. And if I have a merchant here, I should be able to sell random things I've got. But I'm really tempted to get the law person. Yeah, we'll grab you. I'm going to need to get some more cash, but... Alright, Verse, let's have a chat. Take care, Big Al. Our gang is building quite the little collection of spies, aren't we? The Voices Narat was never one for keeping strongholds, but I can definitely see the appeal. Why doesn't the Voices like strongholds? Because there's no point in standing still. The Voices prefers to keep his forces busy and on the move, with the only restful hours between dusk and dawn. Besides, fighters in motion are less likely to rise up and challenge authority. Safety in numbers, but once you get people hunkered down to discuss their problems, suddenly everyone has a reason to kill the closest gang boss. What do you think of the spies? They're big, but make no mistake, a determined army could knock one down if they got enough shovels and picks together. Don't be so quick to assume that you're invincible. As to what they are, I try not to ask those sorts of questions.
What do you need?
We'll talk again later. Ed, do you have anything to say?
A second spire has awoken to your presence. This is fascinating, and I admit enviable. If it turns out your connection to the spires invites death and woe, my jealousy might wane a bit.
Noted, that's fair.
I've been mulling over that structure we found atop Vendrian's well. Would you be opposed to me studying the sculpture in closer detail? I'd perhaps work a spell or two near the structure. Simple cantrips of gravelight by which to read and inspect, but I will not poke or shove the thing in any way physical or mystical.
Okay, that seems reasonable. You don't need to ask my permission. You may observe and take notes only. No magic, no meddling. You think it wise? Of course.
Thank you. Next time we have a good moonlit night, I'd best settle in and see what sort of magic perturbations I can sense from the sculpture.
Very well.
What is it you need?
Let's return to our travels. I'm fine with her looking. I mean, it's not like I understand it anyway, and I kind of would like to understand it.
So, your latest acquisition has me thinking about the spires some more. By all accounts, they go as far back as the old walls. Over the centuries, the nobles of the tiers have claimed the spires, but they've only ever battled over the land at the ground level of the monuments.
Okay.
I've never seen the glyphs of a spire light up in all my years. Not until you show up. If this were an isolated incident, I'd be confused. But it seems the spires, plural, are somehow connected to you. What's your secret?
That is actually an interesting one. I've studied at two nuns' feet, proclaimed edicts, broken them too. I'm sure I've been exposed to all sorts of arcane powers. A long sigh escapes Lantry, and he sticks his quill in his mouth, chewing on the tip. His head tilts from one side to another, muttering incoherent half-words. I always want to know what you're thinking. You can speak freely.
My mind is going back to Ascension Hall. I wonder if Graven Ash or Narot had claimed it as their own, would the spire come alive for either of them the way it did for you?
That's interesting. Probably, so I'll count my good fortune it was me. The Edict of Execution was pushing for someone to claim Ascension Hall. Can't be a coincidence.
Ah, such a clever child. I can't imagine the Overlord would ever carelessly word an edict. You are right. I don't imagine Kairos leaves anything to mere coincidence.
Do you think the spire's connected to Kairos in some fashion? Stories of awakened spires elsewhere in Taratus. Yeah.
There are other spires, and I've heard of notable figures trying to build monuments atop or astride the spires, but nothing I've read matches the mystical connection you've made with the spire.
Do you think the spires are connected to Kairos in some fashion?
If you're asking if Kairos built them or controls them, no. They predate all mention of Kairos, and I'm sure if Kairos could control the other spires, that fact would be shamelessly flaunted.
That's a good point.
But it occurs to me that perhaps Kairos didn't have a connection, but does now, thanks to your actions.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's get going. Also, library upgrade. You've constructed a library on one of your spires. The library is a source of knowledge, both obscure and arcane. Its presence will attract sages from the School of Ink and Quill. With enough scrolls, these recruits can discover powerful secrets. Let's go and have a word with Barak. See how you feel.
You look as if you have something on your mind. By all means.
Placing his weapon on his side, Barak salutes you. The joint of his armor groan in protest.
What can I do for you?
You can tell me the tears. You seem like more than a capable fighter. Let's discuss some immediate concerns. Connection with verse. I will come back to you, Barak. Not ready to take you out and deal with that just yet, but let's see if Garrus can help with anything. What's the status of your research? I'm not currently researching anything. It's just been sorting, organizing, trying to stay from underfoot. I want you to research something. I should have 2 people now. Yeah, there we go. Research items. Find recipes for new items. Scrolls. Shield plans, potion recipe, items. I'm kind of tempted to go for this, honestly. Research items. I would like to know more about items. Go for it. Your researchers are busy researching the Silent Archive. See, having that has given us a big boost, I guess. Tell me of the status of current research. The work continues, of course. He wipes away at the deep circles under his eyes, leaving a smear of black ink. I'll notify you as soon as we have results. Okay. Well, that's cool. It'll actually give me a bit of time. Cool. Very cool. Alright. Well, we need to do some things then. We need money, first and foremost, actually. Need quite a lot. We could go down to Lethian's Crossing. I could sell some more things just to make sure I've got a bit of cash with me, but instead, I don't want to go to Twin Rivers. I want to go to Deserter's March. I've got a lot of things I need to do in Deserter's March. $12 hours, 15 minutes. Do it. Oh. The day's journey is trying. Owing to uneven terrain and dusty conditions, you reach a bend in the path and spy a small clearing off to the side. Several small rodents skitter away as you approach. At the edge of the clearing, you see a familiar sight. Leafy vines coiling around tree trunks. As before, hundreds of thin yellowish-green stems sprout from the vine, a collection of stiff bristles and elongated hairs, each with a cluster of bright orange berries. To memory, you don't notice any significant difference between these plants and the other ones you encountered previously. Examine the vine's leaves. The leaves extend from much saying, call about berries, bright and green lobed, with edges resembling undulating hills. Yep. Continue. Eat the berries in that case. As you approach, reach the main road with a little difficulty. You follow the dense forest and eventually restrain yourself at the stream. As a cold chill watching the body, you recall small rodents bounding away in the clearing. Their droppings must have contaminated the... Oh no! An hour later, you feel a disconcerting tightness in your intestines, one that escalates in intensity with each step. Your stomach churns and the pressure in your belly intensifies, your guts seeming trying to coil into knots. As a cold chill washes over your body, you recall the small rodents bounding away in the clearing. Their droppings must have contaminated the berries. An astute guess on your part, but one made far too late. Damn. Beads of sweat coalesce along your brow, and your intestines begin to burn. The pain is intolerable. You've barely enough time to depart the road and duck behind a tree before you empty your innards in opposite directions simultaneously. I shouldn't laugh, we've all been there once at least. Coasting the nearby trees and shrubs in a violent, bloody and seemingly unending spray, the stench alone makes you vomit again, forcing you into an unfortunate cycle of nausea, release and repeat. A half hour later, you find yourself splayed out on the dirt floor, panting and heaving. The cold sweat has broken, and the pain in your abdomen has subsided. For now, you drink deeply from your water skin, exhausted and trembling. You stumble back to the road, grit your teeth, and continue onwards in your direction. Being reduced on 75, 50, and 25% health percentage will cause a long interrupt. So yeah. That's not so great. But at least it's only me. At least it is only me.
Beast woman is fast.
Wonder if there's any way to get rid of that. Until next rest. Okay, well I could rest now, I suppose. But you know what? Well, I'm gonna keep going with it for now. Okay. Waiter.
Found something.
Okay. Ooh. Coward's contingency. Fleeing. Passive. 50% move speed while has wounds. Ah, okay. Well. Not as good at deflection. Better in everything that you've got. Executed Brotherhood soldiers have been lined up here along the small pile of gear. Satchels and rings, by the looks of it. They were killed fairly recently. We're going to have a look around before we do anything here. I think that would be wise. Raider over there. Some more items. Anything else up in this direction, I wonder? Lock. Bruiser. Kalea. Oh, right. Okay, let me have a look. Here we are. Okay. Let's go and talk with her before we alert anyone else to our presence. The young woman looks up and down. What in Kyrie's bloated bladder do you want? You're Kalea, aren't you? She stiffens. Who wants to know? I'm a friend of your brother. He asked me to come find you. He's worried sick. My dim-witted dullard of a brother worries too much. I'm fine. She turns away from you. End of story. What are you doing out here in Deserter's March anyway? I'm doing my part, is what I'm doing. I've come to Deserter's March to join the Bronze Brotherhood. And there's nothing that you can do to stop me. I'm guessing you didn't see what the Brotherhood leader did in Lethian's Crossing. Here's for you. You wants to ensure safety. You're so enthusiastic to join. Why are you standing here and not actually talking to the Brotherhood? I'll say this. He probably did what no one else was willing to do. Stand up to Kairos soldiers. Ratamon is a good man. He would only do what he thought was necessary. Are you so delusional you actually think he's a good person? I'm not delusional. I know Ratamon, or at least I used to. Either way, I know he's only doing what he thinks is best for the people of Lethian's Crossing. If you don't intend on joining, I'll speak to the Brotherhood on your behalf. Wait, were you and Ratamon... you used to know Ratamon? A long time ago, before Kairos armies came. He hung out with my brother and often, so we spent a lot of time together. My brother was much happier when Raytamon was around. Back then, he didn't spend so much time worrying about me and how I tried to live my life. I just want Kalea to have that happiness again. Oh, she's doing it for her brother. Kalea and Raytamon can become friends again. My brother will leave me alone. Then I'll be free to explore the tears. Okay, maybe not quite as simple as that. Brother, so you can repair the friendship between your brother and Raytamon. So, tell me, this is really all about you getting away from your brother? Yeah, I think... Leave me alone. Yeah, it seems it. Don't get me wrong, I love my brother, but he can be a little overbearing at times. More so recently with the conflict between the Brotherhood and Kairos. I think it just reminds him of what he's lost in recent years. I just want to be free to live my own life away from Kalea, away from everyone. I want to explore the Tears. I've spent my entire life in Lethian's Crossing because until recently I was considered too young to travel alone. Now that I'm old enough, I want to get out and see what's out there. My brother barely lets me leave to travel to the nearby villages, let alone go someplace like Halfgate. Run away. I'll tell him you died so he won't come looking for you. What's the destruction of Lethian's Crossing? Raytamon you knew is gone. You must realize that by now. I think I have. Just been too afraid to face it until now. If Raytamon is the person my brother was friends with, then how do I make my brother happy enough to let me leave? Talk to him. Tell him you're old enough to make your own choices. I'm not sure it'll work, but I'll try. Thank you, Aavak. I'll return to Lethian's Crossing to talk to my brother. Okay, so that is solved. Haha. I am pleased. I've got to return to him to speak about that.
Right.
Oh, no.
You didn't see nothing.
We need to be really, really slow. Now, what else are we going to see here is the question. A stag. You hungry? Kills and shadow. The stags run away. Ugh. How awful. But that does go somewhere. What are we going to find down here? Anyone? I am going to scout out the entire area before I have to engage. I just think it's wiser that way. Also, it gives me a better idea of the numbers involved. Ooh. Let me have a look at you. Forgebound. You are the Forgebound apprentice. Okay. We've got Forgebound shipment. Right. You there. Thought I was dead, did you? But you just help yourself to these crates? I was on my way to get to the Forgebound. Seems that won't be happening now. What happened to you? I was crossing through Deserter's March. I stopped just for a moment and it happened. Blade right in the back. Didn't even see who or what had done it. Looks like I won't be finishing my duty here. Listen, this shipment is property of the Forgebound. Do the world a bit of service and take it back to them instead of pocketing it. These are dark times. Lethian's Crossing needs the support. Will you take this to them? I'll make sure the shipment gets there. He grips the side of the broken cart, lifting himself up so his face is level with yours. Good. Be swift about it. You must. He coughs, spitting thick clumps of blood onto the ground. Damn. Never thought this was how I'd go out. He loses hold of the cart and falls back against it, hitting the ground hard. The old man gasps, the sound from his throat torturous and wet. After a few moments, he is silent. Couldn't I cast a healing spell or something? That's a bit of a shame. I was kind of hopeful that I would be able to. Maybe if I talked to him first, that would have affected it. I don't know. I wonder about that. Since it's already passed, and even if I had to reload, I would just go back and do the same thing again. If anyone happens to know if you talk to him first, if
Did you hear that?
he can be saved, I'd really, really appreciate that knowledge. So I'm just curious about the way the game handles that sort of thing. What's my lore at this point? My lore is 90. Ha ha! Spell time. Oh. Not that spell, apparently. Oh, that spell. Such sad. Super sad. Oh well. I do it across 8 meters. Still wouldn't be that particularly good of a spell, honestly. Yeah, I just don't think that one's going to be a particularly good one for now, no matter what I try to do with it. Still, it was something I was intending to do with that, wasn't it? I could have weighted stance, but I don't think that one's necessarily a good one. Actually, I wonder what this... Oh, you can't do that one. You can... Can Frost do it? Nope. Ah, but Frost might be able to do this. Yes, Arctic Ground. Plus 10% recovery time, prone of friction for 1 second, base 1. Repeatedly receive a stacking penalty to recovery and might slip on full prone. It's not a bad one. Let's see if I can add this bleeding effect now. Tidal bird. Well, no, we don't necessarily want to add that one. But if I go for this, I might be able to get a bleeding enhancement on it. 28 seconds there. So we probably had a cooldown for it. Which we could still do. That one had a bit more time on the afflictions. We could drop the time it takes a little bit. Maybe even increase the range a tiny bit, actually. And instead add bleeding as well. Yeah, I can assign that one there. That's a pretty nasty spell now. A very nasty spell, actually. See, I'd have to choose between the two. I could add bleeding to my frost spells. I would lose any kind of frost, though, if I don't. I'd just do frost damage. If I go for this instead, I now have Frozen Affliction, and I could add Bleeding Affliction on top. So it's not quite as good, but I've got a spell that I can set people on fire with. I don't need one of my frost spells doing that anymore. And I could have them bleeding for quite some time. Causes raw damage over time. And it will apply this to quite a lot of people. Yeah. Rhyme Spike will... It makes a lot more sense, in a way, to imagine Rhyme Spike causing bleeding damage. Because there's a giant spike of ice just appearing underneath their feet. So that, to me, seems to make sense. I can increase my fireball as well. At least in terms of its range. So sure. Have I got any others that I can do that to? Could I pull this? Yes, actually. So I can have Spectral Blur have a bit of a lower cooldown. Have I got any others that are at 80? Yes, Rhyme Spike is technically at 80, so I could have Rhyme Spike's duration reduced. 85, 80. So guidance could be improved. I could increase guidance's range, actually. Sure. Because this is an AoE, so actually increasing guidance's range would be a better option for me there, I think. But yeah, at 90 law skill, that's pretty important for me, I think.
I got it. Right.
As that's going to open up a lot of other options. Now, can I get up there? Disfavored scouts, such as these, are not an uncommon sight in Deserter's March. These two were likely attempting to observe the Brotherhood camp below, and were gifted several arrows for their trouble. Crude map. The disfavored soldiers drew a crude map depicting Deserter's March and other nearby wilderness areas. Multiple lines and connection points likely indicate patrols and fortified positions. The sheer number of them suggests that Kairos forces are making aggressive attempts to control the region surrounding Lethian's crossing. Let me go and have a look at that. Okay, it isn't particularly useful information for me right now. Got medic. Let's just creep up a little bit. Oh, okay. I'll deal with that trap.
What have we here?
A trap that we are about to do to disarm. Yeah, Belial, when I first started, I don't think I'm going to be a mage or do much with magic. And then all of a sudden I realized their magic system was one of the best magic systems I've ever seen in any game ever. That's basically what happened. And so, yes. This is the way of things. Right. Well, I kind of want to deal with you.
On it.
If I can. Will you walk back? Yes, you will. Verse, move down. Also, turn off your handling.
Quick.
Indeed.
Ain't
Quick.
that odd?
The thing is, can I talk to them? Alright then. Traitors. So everyone says anyway. Not my place to ask questions. Oh, they aren't enemies yet. Okay. That is certainly a way to disarm things. What? Mysterious missive. This rolled scrap of parchment tucked away in a satchel appears to be an undelivered missive. Are suspicious. Cannot deliver reports. Come to the march in a fortnight. Look for rusted blade and shield. Okay. Broken armor. Bronze mace. Imperial iron falcata. And Imperial iron falcata. This one's fine. They're both fine. Tenderizer. Yeah, I don't see the difference. Okay. What would be the difference then? Oh, this one's superior. That's okay. It was kind of odd the way it was displaying that. This is a one-hand superior weapon. Don't really see it doing much good, but we can always compare. So, as it's a one hand, I don't mind giving it to you. It's slash. Significantly better. Lower accuracy, yes. And lower recovery, yes. But massive armor penetration. Overall better DPS. Overall better accuracy. And better recovery. But I would lose crush. No, we're going to have that in place of the bronze dagger, I think. Not quite as well set up as previous, but still. We're going to keep Tenderizer, I think, for the time being. That does a staggering amount of damage. Overall, this is better than this. It's less armor penetration, but how often do I actually aim to get through armor with this guy? I've got lots of other ways that I can do that.
I got it.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're just going to have to talk with the people over here then.
On the lookout.
Yeah, looks like it. Radaman is a murderer, a thief, and a coward. How can you stand with him? He went too far. Death is inevitable in war. But slaughtering innocent settlers? What possible reason could he have to kill them? They were regrettable but necessary deaths. He needs the helmet if we want to keep Lethian's crossing out of Kairos' hands. Necessary? Do you hear what you're saying? That was a slaughter. And now the crossing is vulnerable. If the helmet isn't returned, the pain will overwhelm it. You should settle this by fighting it. I'm going to walk in. Everyone calm down. Locke looks back and forth between you and Myrick. Sighs. You're right, Fatebinder. He addresses Myrick. Have your men lower their weapons and I will have my men do the same. Fatebinder, I implore you, help us. I want to avoid more bloodshed if possible. Alright.
Will do.
Brotherhood rarely camp in one location for more than a few weeks at a time, unless they become predictable. Oh, before I talk, I mean, just, decent Bond's dagger. I don't want to compare it to that one, but I wouldn't mind comparing it to this one. Did I not just pick up that bronze dagger? I did not, because I'm a dup. Massive dup. Pretty much the same in every regard. Yeah, doesn't really help me in any way. I'll just keep it and sell it later on. Okay. Locke, what do you want? Looks at you cautiously approach and holds up his hands. Fatebinder, I know the recent events at Lethian's Crossing were unusual as well as regrettable. In light of Radamon's actions forcing your hand, we will overlook all the Brotherhood blood on your sword. Right now, the important thing is to convince Myrick that Radamon doesn't have anyone's best interest in mind, and his insatiable need to be the victor is going to kill us all. Isn't the most unstable person here? Come and dance with me. Wow, really? It would seem not everyone in the Brotherhood agrees with Radamon's methods. Do you know where I might find him? Why does Radamon want the Forgebound Master? If only I knew. I might be able to prevent this. Radamon has become increasingly unstable since Kairos forces took Lethian's Crossing from him. Perhaps he meant to better arm the Brotherhood. We can always use quality weapons, so getting a hold of a Forgebound iron would be an exciting prospect. With Kairos forces on the move, that would be welcomed. I've been stationed in Deserter's March for some time now, and I've seen a growing number of Kairos' men in the area. Something is going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. No. We might be mercenaries. It would seem not everyone in the Brotherhood agrees. No, we might be mercenaries, but we aren't murderers. Myrick is a loyalist, so he follows Radamon's orders without question, no matter how crazy they are. Myrick isn't an evil person, though. He just has a hard time thinking for himself, and is easily manipulated. Okay. Do you know where to find him? I have no idea. Myrick probably does, though. Okay, I'll speak with him. Radamon doesn't trust you, Fatebinder. Why should I listen to anything you have to say? Because if you don't answer my questions, you'll be talking to your guts as they spill out of you. I don't care if you trust me, but you will listen to me if you want to stop all this bloodshed. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go softly with this. If that were possible, Radamon would already have found a way, but you are welcome to try, no matter how futile the effort. What do you want to know? Why are you in Deserter's March? Why did they take? How can you follow a man who kills his own men so indiscriminately? Why are you in Deserter's March? Radamon sent me here to retrieve any loyal soldiers I can find. I assumed that would include Locke, but apparently I was wrong. The penalty for disloyalty is death. So if Radamon sent you, you know where he is. Even if I had that information, why would I tell you? I just need to talk to him. You want all this to be over, don't you? I'll go with it if they'll get me what I need. He looks at you suspiciously. Radamon went into the old walls at Twin Rivers. And before you ask, I don't know what he's doing there. But even if you follow him, you won't find him because you don't have the keystone. Keystone? What's that? You've got all the information you are going to get out of me, all that I'll give Fate Bandit. Just know that without it, you'll never find Rightamon. But why did he take the Forge Master? I don't ask, I just do. If you need to know why he wanted it, you will have to tell you. And he doesn't want to talk to you. Well, violence seems to be the only way to get through to you people. How can you follow a man who kills his own men so indiscriminately? They must have been traitors to the Bronze Brotherhood, says this more to himself than you. Otherwise, Rightamon wouldn't have killed them. That has to be the reason. Okay. The men Rightamon kills are traitors. The Bronze Brotherhood must have a lot of them. Maybe we'll go with that, yeah. Merrick purses his lips, his eyes moving back and forth, and he considers your words. You might have a point. But I still don't trust your motives. I'm not going to turn over the leader of the Brotherhood on speculation. Well, Locke thinks Rightamon is acting on his own self-interest. He wants you to see Rightamon for who he really is. Let's not go there yet. Let's just lay out what he has done, because that's a better way of leading someone to a conclusion. You could try and skip ahead, and if they trust you, they might accept your judgment. Like you, without first leading them along the chain of observations and theories that brought you to your conclusion. They might just accept your conclusion if they trust you. If they don't, then it's better not to give your conclusion, but instead lay out all of the observable facts so that they come to the conclusion. Rightamon invaded Lethian's Crossing and attacked everyone, including his own men. We're in the middle of a war, Fate Binder. People die. There is defiance in Merrick's eyes, but no conviction behind his statement. Perhaps they betrayed him. Perhaps they tried to mutiny. We don't know his true motivations. He looks to the side, and you can tell he doesn't really believe his own words. Do you really believe he's a good leader? Yes, makes the declaration vehemently. I know everything he does will be good for everyone. We just have to trust him. Okay, well. I'm not going to go there. Thanos did nothing wrong exactly, Belial. There's going to be no way. Let's talk about something else. What do you want to know? That's fine. I don't have any other questions for either of you. Have you had any luck convincing Merrick to stop blindly following Rightamon? He's not as sure of Rightamon as he once was. I tried, but if he can't be convinced, he will have to be killed. He once was, yeah. Merrick, think about what it used to mean to be a brother and what the Brotherhood used to be. The Rightamon we knew would never do these horrible things to his own men. You will die if you keep with him. But he has never led us wrong, Locke. Don't you remember? Nothing could stop us. Now, no one could hold us back. What happened? Could you two lovers just finish each other off? No. Help us, Merrick. Rightamon must be stopped. Any way we can. No. Merrick shakes his head defiantly. Rightamon may have his flaws, but I am a failure as a soldier if I don't follow my leader, regardless of his shortcomings. Faces Locke, his eyes wet. I'm sorry, brother, but the price of betrayal is death.